I prefer it. I don't have a little mouse that's external. When I pushed her away, I ended up touching the pad and put me in there. And I had to deal with it. I had to accept it. And there's no logic in here that justifies that fill, except for I pushed the pad without wanting to do so. But the trade is still viable. I know that it's giving me the information I want to see, because look at the wicks here. It only goes above it by 1 tick. It only goes above it by 1 tick. Okay, wonderful. The bodies are proving to me that we're only really respecting the lower half of this gap. See that? Let me take the thing. I'll put it right back on in a second. Give me a moment. You see how the bodies are showing how it's just respecting the lower half. You want to see my PD arrays and my inefficiencies and fair value gaps, whether it be sell side imbalance, buy side inefficiency, or buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency. You want to see half of them not respected, because that in itself is insight. That's how you know the algorithm is doing exactly what you want it to do. See, when I talk about signatures and price and what the algorithm is doing, this and when the algorithm is doing that, it sounds like bullshit if you don't want to believe there's an algorithm. But then when you start seeing me execute and it's the same logic repeating over and over again, or I'm calling individual candlesticks, then suddenly you're met with an argument that you have to contend with. I don't give two shits if you believe there's an algorithm. I'm enjoying the fact that I'm rubbing your nose in it. But there are times where these inefficiencies will come back entirely close in and still go lower. I do not like that. I don't like to see that in my trades. I don't like to see that in a trade that I'm waiting to see form. And for instance, say I'm trying to anticipate this as a return back up into it to go short, which is what I was wanting to do. I really wanted to execute as it hit this. That's what I wanted. I wanted consequent encouragement. I really wanted that fill. But because I'm allowing the dog, and I talked about this last week, when I don't let him up in my trading office, but I'm down here being with them. Otherwise, if she's not in the house, my wife, and we only have my youngest living with me and my nieces. So if they're not here with her, they're going to howl and cry, trying to get my attention. And that's going to be distracting. You'll hear them in the background. I won't be able to mute them because they're going to be howling because they want to be with me. Piper's the one that loves me the most, and she's trying to get on my lap. And I pushed the laptop and her away, and I did, and executed on it. I was like, oh, crap. So that's what that fill was in here. It was not me trying to get into a trade based on any kind of logic. It was just one of those things that happen in real life. Okay, it's going to happen to you, but when it does, what do? In the beginning, if you don't know these things, if you don't know how to trade and hold on to a trade or trust the logic, as soon as you realize you did something that you shouldn't have done, your best learning curve to experience is to close that trade and then see, all right, this is how I would still manage it. And what has it done? It completely disarms you. You don't have the weight of it has to be right. It has to pan out in your favor, because now you're stressing about, oh, I got into a trade where I partially pyramided another position size in this trade idea. And now I'm worried about this was a mistake versus watching what is price doing. Okay. So the signature is you want to see the upper half when you're looking at a SIBI or a inversion fair value gap that should act as resistance, or if you are using a reclaimed fair value gap. That's a premium array. A premium array, you want to see the upper half of the inefficiencies or gaps. You want to see them leave that open. That's how you know the algorithm is respecting, number one, the PD array. And it's also telling you that you're going to see a measurable displacement in your favor. Now, right away, you should be getting this warm and fuzzy moment going over you right now, because that's the stuff that I never wanted to teach. That's the stuff that is not printing in price. So it's not in your candlestick. You want to see the things that are not in the candlesticks materialize. That means where there's an inefficiency, okay? How do I know when certain gaps are not going to fill? Oh, I go into every one that I'm referring to with a hope that they're not going to fill, because that's the algorithmic signature that I want to see in that. Now, if it goes up and trades to the top of it, then I need to see an immediate response and rejection there. And then it has to displace, and I won't touch it until it gives us another fair value gap on that time frame, or in this case, it's a 1 minute chart. It has to be 15 seconds, 30 seconds, something to that effect. And then I'll use a fair value gap on that time frame, because I've already missed the rejection, but I waited and looked for it at the top of the fair value gap. And once it starts to displace lower, then I'll just get into a lower time frame and get in sync with it, and it's fine. I ain't worried about it. That's the price delivery continuum theory that I was introducing last week. I don't need to be in the entries based on the time frames I'm studying. If I miss it, because sometimes I'm just being a little stubborn, and I'm trying to be very finessing about where I'm trying to get in at. I'm trying to impress either my son or some of you. Sometimes I won't get my fill, and then I have to go and use a lower time frame to get in sync with it. That's fine. It's very forgiving when you know what you're looking for. But that was what that was, okay? And then I have this inefficiency here, which also has this. What's this candlestick? What's this green candlestick right here? It is a bearish order block, just like that one. So this opening price, did this candle close below it once it passed through? Yep. So that validates that as a bearish order block. So if I can see price create these areas where there's an inefficiency, and then I can label the very specific change in the state of delivery, which is what the opening price is on every order block, then what I'll do is I'm watching. I'm not doing this physically. You should do it when you start studying price with these things in mind. When price starts to trade back up into it, as it's trading into it, okay, I'm going to hammer that as a short. I'm not going to worry about if it fills me with slippage at the low of the gap. I'm trying to get inside of this order block between its opening price and its low. But I have to trade it as soon as it gets there the first time. I don't care how much heat and time I have once I get in it, because I know I have the framework of this right here, this gap, and the midpoint of this candlestick, which is what? Mean threshold. Some of you said consequent encroachment. Consequent encroachment is a gap. Okay, anytime there's a gap or inefficiency, the midpoint is consequent encroachment. If there's a specific range that's formed by the order block, singular candle, it's mean threshold. Okay, so the midpoint of that, essentially it's around here. Okay, so what is it doing? It goes right there. So it goes just outside of the fair value gap, but I'm referring to the midpoint of that gap. How do you know how to place your stop losses where they're at, ICT? When you put those stop losses in and you're putting it, and it looks like it's going to get real close to it, but it never goes there, it's this type of stuff behind me. I'm measuring all of the potential for the market to respect certain levels with this logic. And if it trades just to the top of the fair value gap, okay, what is it really reaching for? It's not that it has to go back to this. It's trading back to the order block, because that's what starts this run lower. Notice that? So that takes us to the minor sell side liquidity here. Why is it a minor sell side? Because it's a low inside of this low to that high when I think it's going to go down here. And I'm aiming down here in this layered sell side liquidity. And if it's going to go there, how far could it go? It can go down to the new week opening gap. And if it expands through that, what's the next new day opening gap? It's August 9th. Down here. And as I told you, my interest in this is in the mid part of that.